to our grits. They cook the same way. We have a pot of boiling water. We are going to add our salt to it. Again, if you don't season it first, it's difficult to get the flavor in there right when you get going. We are going to add a lot of cheese, and we are going to add some shrimp to it, so it's going to pick up other flavors, which will help flavor it as well. But you always want to make sure you season your water first. This particular recipe is 3 quarts of water to 1 can, okay? It does break down. It works very small. And I'm using shrimp today because I like shrimp in it. However, chicken works fantastic as well for those of you who don't like shrimp, okay? Or you can just do it as a plain jalapeno grits. It works well as a side. Now, I know this was just boiling, and we need it to simmer, so we're going to add our grits to our water. This is a little easier to pour from. And you want to try and stir it. Go ahead.
If you use chicken, pre-cooked chicken.
I would pre-cook my chicken and dice it up. Just because this is going to cook rather quickly, and if you were to try and cook your chicken in with it, it would take quite a long time. I'm also using pre-cooked shrimp today, just to show you they work just as well as the raw product. Now this one's not going to cook up quite as fast because it's a much larger, more coarse ground item. And I'll set it out there so you can see when you come up. Move this stuff out of our way. See how this is starting to bubble already? If you don't give it constant attention, it will bubble all over your cabinets, your stove, your countertop, and anything else you put near it. You, your arms, your legs, everything. So you really need to watch this pretty closely. And you don't ever want to put a lid on it because it'll blow that lid clean off. And the second you go to take that lid off, it will instantly decide to spit at you and burn you like you wouldn't believe. This stuff tends to stick, especially to skin. So when it hits you and it burns, it's horrible. So just keep an eye on it. Keep stirring it. I got it cut down. You want to cook it on about medium heat. Now, if you were to use raw shrimp, this is about half cooked. It's almost like that mush stage. This is when you would add those to them because they're going to take about 5 or 6 minutes to cook. And that would help fully cook them through this process. I don't like to take that chance, especially with such a large audience. I'd rather make sure they were fully cooked ahead of time. For me, myself, I eat them raw anyway, so it won't hurt me. I can see that face back there. That's exactly why I don't do it. That's almost ready. I'll let you know the week ahead of time. See how that's spitting all over the place? When we do sushi, I'll tell you a week in advance. Now you can see I only walked away for that for what, maybe 30, 45 seconds? And that quickly it started bubbling and spitting all over the place. But they are starting to get done. The way that I can tell is when I pick them up on my slotted spoon, they don't go anywhere. Okay, they'll run through a little bit. Yep, that hurt. That's also a way to tell that they're starting to get done. The thicker they are, the harder they bubble, the more done they are. Now, we're going to add our cooked shrimp to this, okay? They're going to cool this down a little bit. Actually, let's do this in reverse. Let's add our cheese to this first. Those shrimp are going to cool that down a little more than the cheese will, and since we want our cheese to melt, we're going to add it first. Sometimes the zippers don't work on these. We just cut them off, especially if we're going to use it all. Now, it's a pound of pepper jack cheese, which sounds like a whole lot. It is. Those of you who are familiar with pepper jack, it's got a little bit of a jalapeno flavor to it. It's got a little bit of a spice to it, but it's not the most intense thing you're ever going to eat, okay? It's got a pretty mild flavor as a cheese itself, and a little bit of the jalapeno comes through. Now we're also going to add cheddar to this because cheddar tends to have a little more cheese bite and a little more flavor. And I like the fact that it turns it orange. Really can't lie to you about that. Now, as you can see, that's pretty quickly starting to mix up and dissolve into there.
Is the jalapeno from the pepper jack cheese?
Yes.
You could add more.
You could easily add more to it. add raw jalapenos. You could add just Tabasco sauce or chili sauce. You could add a hotter pepper if you'd like. You could use a habanero, ghost chilies, depending on how hot you go, how hot you like, what your tolerances are. Most people think jalapenos are really hot, so I try not to cook with anything over that. Unless it's for myself, and then, well, everything's fair game. Now, as we're adding this cheese to it, see how it's starting to change consistency? It went from that kind of creaminess to now it's more of a gloppy, sticky kind of product. And you just want to stir it until everything is dissolved. And we have that almost there. So we're going to add these to it. Actually, yeah. I remembered I had some water in the bottom of there and I didn't want to add that to it. Come on, fingers. We're going to mix this down into it. Now, because this is so hot and those shrimp are so small, they're going to heat up just as quickly as this is going to cool down. And now I turned this burner off, but there's still some heat coming off of it, so I'm going to slide it back over it for a few seconds just to help warm that pan back up, and that will help us heat everything thoroughly. You want to make sure you scrape right around the bottom of this pan, because that's where you get your grits that don't have any cheese in them. See how stringy that's starting to be? Kind of like string cheese. I don't know about you folks, but I'm pretty sure cheese makes the world a whole lot better. And now you don't have to just use cheddar or jalapeno or pepper jack cheese. You can add anything to this. You can add Parmesan, you can add Monterey Jack, Colby Jack, Munster, Mozzarella, Provolone, Swiss. Whatever it is, your favorite cheese, whatever you have laying around in the fridge, whatever you have left over, will work to make this cheesy and sticky. Right? They hold their shape relatively well. But they're still going to run. Back in here. What I want to do with this is kind of make a small well in the center of it. Because I like that tomato gazpacho flavor. And I think they work together well. We're just going to take a tiny bit of it, serve it right through the center.